All right, we are back with another reaction um, to a new album. To me, not really to everyone else, but we started the series with "Return of the Dream Canteen" by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It just dropped this past Friday. Yesterday, Saturday, we listened to "It Is What It Is" by Thundercat. Because Thundercat joined uh, the Chili Peppers for their tour, um, and I hadn't really heard a lot of Thundercat, so we took a deep dive into "It Is What It Is," and now the only place I think we can go from Thundercat is another uh, musician that I had not really listened to all that much, and that's Mac Miller. Um, Of course, I know he passed away probably about a couple of years ago by this point. And I've listened to a couple of his songs, and I really did like his style. I liked his process, and kind of again, there's a lot of music that I haven't really listened to, and not for any other reason than it's just music that I was not always around. I've always listened to rock music. I loved metal music, and alt rock. I never really did a deep dive into other genres. So now I think is a good opportunity to take a look at some of those artists and see what they had to bring to the table. Like I said, Mac Miller passed away, unfortunately, and I guess as a disclaimer at the top, I find that when I listen to a lot of musicians who have passed away at such a young age, I tend to get really emotional because music really is a window into that person's being, who they are, their journey, their experiences, and to lose them so early on while they still had so much potential in life left in front of them, it really hurts me as not just a musician but just overall as a person. You really feel the loss once you take a listen to those songs and kind of even understand what their headspace may have been at the time. In the case of someone like Mac Miller, other people that come to mind are Chris Cornell, Kurt Cobain, Lane Staley, and even Scott Weiland. I'm a big grunge head, as you can tell. Anyways, the first album that I'm wanting to listen to is been recommended to me a couple times. It is Swimming, and this is from 2018. 13 songs, 58 minutes. That's fewer songs than Thundercat, but almost twice as long. So we're not going to waste any more time with this intro. We're just going to go straight into it with the first track, Come Back to Earth. I have no idea what to expect with this album, and I'm super excited to listen to it with y'all. All right, let's go.
My regrets look just like texts I shouldn't send. And I got neighbors that more like strangers. We could be friends. I just need a way out.
I love how soft this is right off the bat. I love the instrumentation too, also. Damn.
Sunshine don't feel right when you're inside. All day look like rain, gray skies.
that was really really heavy. Um, wow, that that just kept hitting me. Um, like I said, just just things like this, right? You you really get a sense of what that person was going through at the time, and I felt like just from that song alone, um, I felt like I got a glimpse into that. Um, that was amazing. I couldn't even. I was trying to focus on the instrumentation and everything, and then it just kept hitting over and over again with the words, with his approach, getting his message across. I mean, I don't know what kind of image I had painted for Mac before listening to this first song. I think I've only heard like two songs by him, and those ones are definitely not any representation of his full potential. So that was incredible. Come Back to Earth. Track one. What a great one to start out with. So, whew, okay, now that we got that out of the way. Damn, that I was kind of thinking it was gonna get emotional, but damn, right off the bat. Okay, so I think we're good. Track number two, Hurt Feelings. I like that those effects that are going on behind the backbeat. It's a very good mix too. Okay. Yeah. I like this one. I was kind of like, I don't know where. Wow. I didn't know how I was gonna feel about it at the beginning, but it's growing on me. The vocal work is really, really good. The way it's layered on top of one another. Okay. Yeah. I mean, immediately, I enjoyed both of those songs. I think right now, I really like that it's laid back so far. I mean, we still have quite a few songs to go, so I mean, surely at some point they'll probably be a little bit more um, upbeat or aggressive, something to that effect, but or more energetic rather. But otherwise, I mean, I really like the style of these two songs. It's very very mature, very intellectual. The choices that he's making, the instrumentation for sure, um, and the way I mean, he's a storyteller, literally. Uh, so yeah, the next track is "What's the Use." Track number three, "What's the Use." Mm. Oh, that's trippy. But I love that bass line.
Time we don't waste much. Fuck when we wake up, then I have her sang just like Celine Dion. Catch me if you can, but you'll never catch me. Damn, whole lot of yes. I can take a ride, get inside. This is highly different. I'm talking fly, got a pilot with him. Mind my business. Why you tripping? Give you something that your eyes go with.
I like that.
Too close.
Wow, that's that's good. You know, I think of songs like this, and I just think to myself, like, how different everyone's journeys are when it comes to music. Not just Mac, but you know, his listeners, anybody's listeners, really, because he was such a force. I only know him by association, just by my friends, and they I've always heard the name Mac, like, and it just never occurred to me to just listen. It just wasn't it just wasn't my music. It wasn't my scene. But just listening to those songs right there, those first three tracks, it's just my friends, the experiences that they must have just had listening to that for the first time when it first dropped, and he was still alive. And I mean, even down to the different the different journeys that they went on, you know these being those these songs being their comfort friends or their comfort zone. Them, whenever they're in hard times, they listen to these songs to get them through the hard times, or just vibing, anything. um it just, you know those are memories that my friends made, and of course I didn't. But at the same time, there's songs that I listen to, and they haven't listened to. So it's just, getting way too deep into this. But again, it's just amazing the different journeys that people experience with music. I love that song. All three of those songs are going on the playlist. I love that. So the next track is Perfecto. Track number 4, Perfecto.
Yep, as hard as it gets, cool, calm, and collected. Holding my breath, this ain't what I expected. Don't
Damn.
hold me to death, pull my heart out my chest. The cards is all on the table, I'm calling it. Don't tread in water, I swear. That if I drown, I don't care. They calling for me from the shore. I need more. Well, it ain't perfect, but I don't mind. Because it's worth it. Is it? Who really has the time?
That's already the second time that he mentioned water in his music. So, I mean, you could tell that he's very aware of his current situation, and he's using his music to explain his situation. Man, and that's because that is, I'm looking at the plays, that song is one of the least played songs on his album. It's like every song that is getting played, it becomes like a new favorite of mine. Man, that was that I don't want these reviews to go so long, but I have so many thoughts on these, just because when I was listening to that one, it really reminded me of Lane Staley. Kind of different situations, but their struggles are being coded in these songs, and very deliberately and very obviously. I mean, you could tell that whatever he was going through during this time is all over these songs, in the titles, in the metaphors, everything. And it hurts because we know the outcome. So again, things like this, they make me very emotional because obviously he was a very intellectual person, and he was a very beautiful soul, incredible artist, and these internal struggles, we lost a great one. And again, I didn't know much about Mac before tonight, and immediately I'm seeing that. So anyhow, the next song is Self Care, track number 5, Self Care. Okay, so this looks like it's the most popular song on the album, so I can't imagine I've heard it before. Man, the mix is just amazing. The way that the all the different layers to it, especially the vocals, it. I'm trying to look at these from a different light, and I could tell you right off the bat, like, if you had asked me 2, 3 years ago, I would not be listening to this. You know what I mean? I never thought to dive into. Yeah, would you? This isn't necessarily like traditional rap the way that I've been shown it. I don't even know if you'd consider it rap. Whoa, wait a second. Oh, wow. That's crazy that. I mean, I love this transition, but it's crazy that that's the same song. What an interesting choice to keep it as the same song. Wow, man. He keeps impressing me with this vocal work. Go straight into the next song. The next song is Wings, number 6, Wings. Man, that was almost a 6-minute song, and that flew by. That was a whole journey.
I got a bone to pick like roses. I ain't feeling broken.
Very stripped down compared to the other songs. And he does incorporate instrumentation very selectively.
Follow me, we on the up and up. Remember when I owed $100? Now I look around like, what the fuck? If you don't fuck with me, you fucking up. I know I need to wash my temper.
That's pretty good. God, it's so eerie, man. Such interesting musical choices in that song. I feel like it was a little more unorthodox compared to everything else that I've heard so far. It definitely showed, like, obviously the vocal work again. I mean, he's a genius. But the instrumentation on that one was very stripped down and he was very selective on where he incorporated the instruments. They had their little moments. They didn't cover that song all the way through, and I think that was done purposefully, and I really appreciate that it was stripped down that way. It gave you a lot more room to focus on what was being said. And it kind of gives a little look into the musicianship. Whether, it's just, obviously it's not just him, but everything else that's being incorporated gives you a real look at, hey, not only is this person really talented when it comes to, picking the right notes and getting a catchy tune going, but also the technicality behind it and understanding that sometimes less is more. when it comes to music. And I think that's what that song really got across for me. So the next song is track number 7, Ladders. So we are now almost halfway through this album. What do I think so far? My thoughts. First 6 songs, absolutely incredible. Lots of really good things. Lots of great choices with his instrumentation, with the musicianship, and just overall, just his vocals. I mean, the man's a genius. So, track number 7, Ladders. Feels like it's gonna be a little more upbeat than what we've been getting. Am I getting like gospel vibes from this? Like, what am I getting? Fuck yeah. I like that little pew. Okay, yeah. Okay. I think this is probably my favorite now. Ladders, I think that's my favorite now. Hey. What the fuck? Wow. Dude, that little breakdown was crazy. I love that ride work. I love this mix, man. Holy shit. I love that like everything is just further back in the track. Damn. Oh my god. I love that song. Ladders is my favorite. Wow. God, that must have been so much fun. Okay, go straight into the next track. I'm gonna pause that real quick. Again, I didn't. This is me being very ignorant when it comes to this area in music, this community. But there's so many elements in this that I never would have expected from this area in music. I don't want to call it just rap because to me it's the same thing as calling anything rock. It doesn't represent all the nuances that come with that genre and that perspective of music. But that's all I know it as. So this area of music, this genre, right? I only really knew it for the rhythm section, the bass, these electronic drums, and then just spoken word lyrics, right? But there's so much like very, very technical choices that are being made in this. I mean, not just the horns, not just these saxophones. It's all very, very well thought out, very pieced together, and that was just an amazing showing. I mean, and it had time to breathe through it too. Again, that mix, like everything was just further back for you to just really soak everything in. The drums just were not overbearing at all. Even those horns, you could hear the life in it, but it was very warm. It was very inviting. It wasn't It wasn't just piercing. You know what I mean? I mean, it's such a great showcase. This album just keeps delivering. Next song is Small Worlds, track number 8, Small Worlds.
Yeah, yeah. The world is so small till it ain't. Yeah. I'm building up a wall till it break. Till it break.
I think vocal wise, the actual words being spoken, this is probably my favorite.
I don't wanna keep you waiting. I hope I never keep you waiting.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. This little back and forth. Dude.
Got a bad attitude, playing till I'm out of moves.
Man, those little clicks, those little snaps. They're oh man, I love where they are. They're so delicate, but they're so necessary.
Feel my fingers slipping in a motherfucking instant, I'll be gone. Do you want it all if it's all me? I don't keep count, nobody checking.
Wow. That was good. A lot of great choices. Great choices. I'm not even. It's good. I don't know what else to say. That was great. I love the vocal work. Of course, across the board, I love his vocals, but that one especially, I like his word choice. Very, very catchy. Very simple too. I think that's a good lesson for people is you don't need to pack the song with so many lyrics. You don't. Just make them purposeful. That's all you need. You don't need a crazy amount of words. You don't need to like reinvent the wheel. Just say what's on your mind. And I mean, something in your mind is probably gonna be gold. Not everything though. So, but you never know unless you try. Track number 9, Conversation Part 1.
From my planet, we don't speak the same language. This is an occasion, ain't it? I'm feeling good and hated. Shit, I don't recognize these faces. Yeah, where you from? Who you came with? Started. Where you from? Who you came with? Started in the basement, made it way above the top. Now I'm in the spaceship, shit is spacious. Everybody's famous, everybody wild, everybody dangerous. Get it, made it way above the
It's growing on me.
top. I'm in the spaceship,
There was a little bit of musical disconnect between my thoughts and the way the song was being presented. Just because, I started hearing the drums, and obviously it's electronic, or like, not necessarily electronic, maybe like samples, but I heard, I guess from a drummer's perspective, there are certain things, like sounds, that the way that they were being layered together, I could tell that it was electronic, but also, or like samples, but also, to me, it's like, okay, you got the hi-hat open right here, and then you do the snare, and it just sounded a little like, would this really work? Or are you just doing things just because you can? There's a difference between doing what you should and doing what you can. Because there's a lot of things you can do, but should you? And at first I was listening to that drum bit, and I was like, I don't know if I do that. sounded a little off, but then, as the song kind of went on, it kind of was like, oh, it still sounds a little off, but it works. Otherwise, I mean, those are just nitpicks. It's still a solid track. But yeah, I like that. And then that really that weird sax part in there was just kind of going back and forth. I was like, where the hell is that coming from? It sounded really cool. It was very entrancing. It's a word that I like using lately. Okay, so track number 10, Dunno. Dunno? I don't know. We got 4 tracks left. So simple on that little synth pattern and the percussion, but again, it just shows. Songs like this really show how talented a person can actually be. Because obviously he's capable of so much more. But at the very basis of who he is, it's like, work with what you got. And some people can just make magic out of literal sticks and stones. Like just dirt. They can turn it, like they could turn dirt into gold. That's a good outro. He keeps saying throughout these songs, like, it's gonna be all right, that we're gonna be all right, and it sounds like he knows like his time is coming up. It's it just seems prophetic at a certain point, like, and that's the eerie thing about it. These people, they're so, I don't know, it's like they're so in tune with themselves. They're so at peace with themselves, even though there's so much chaos in them. They also just, it seems like there's just so much peace in them too. It's crazy. So the next song is Jet Fuel, track number 11, Jet Fuel. We are in the final stretch. It is 3 songs left. Good Lord. Man, the way he's able to, like, between his verses and then to his chorus, it's just like such a personality shift, like, or the inflection in his voice changes so much that it literally sounds like 2 separate people. Of course. It's 2 halves, these 2 like really, really incredible halves that come together that make Mac's musical persona. He has the instrumentation down to a T. I mean, down to the mixing. It's so good. And then you pair that with his vocals, and like, you take out the vocals, the music stands by itself. You take out the music, the vocals stand by themselves. But you have both of them together, and it's just like, it's so good. Going from Thundercat to this was such a good choice. I'm so glad that that was where we went, because I can hear just like so much. They bleed into each other so much. It's crazy. They're amazing storytellers, amazing musicians, amazing storytellers. Wow, that was a great one. Um, this whole album, like I don't think there's really one song that stuck out to me that was like, I don't know. I mean, even the thing I was saying about Conversation Part One, that's fucking nitpicking. Like that was just that's my stupid fucking head saying, as a drummer, I probably wouldn't have done that. That fucking where's my album, right? Like just fucking this is gold. Like not even gold. This is fucking diamond. This is amazing. This is literally a gem of an album. All right. So, track number 12, 2009. Wow. I feel like I'm on the Titanic or something. Here we go.
Well, I don't need to lie no more. Nowadays, all I do is shine. Take a breath and ease my mind. And she don't cry no more. She tell me that I get her high, cause an angel's supposed to fly. I ain't asking why no more. But when I'm about, and sometimes, I wish I took a simpler route. Instead of having demons that's as big as my house. Have a ball with it, dribble and bounce. Cause the party ain't over till they kicking me out. Yeah, isn't it funny? We can make a lot of money, buy a lot of things just to feel a lot of ugly. I was high and muddy.
That's so
Looking
crazy.
for what was looking for me, but I don't need to lie no more.
Like I said before, man, you know, I can focus on just the music, or I could focus on his vocals, and on their own they stand so well together. Man,
yeah, I know what's behind that door, but really I'm just trying to start believing in God. Now when it gets hard, I don't panic, I don't sound the alarm, because I don't need to lie no more. Nowadays all I do is shine, take a breath and ease my mind, and she don't cry no more.
so glad I'm listening to this sober, because I'd be a fucking mess if I was had some beer or something. He's just trying to figure it out, you know. He's trying to understand what makes him tick. Popping up the hood and seeing what's going on under there. That's probably that's a top 5 one for me for sure. It may even be top 3. I think for me, Ladders 2009 and maybe one of the first tracks, maybe Hurt Feelings. Again, this is just from the first listen through. I've never heard any of these songs before. And right before we go into the final track, I mean, my entire perspective of Mac as a person has just gotten completely blown out of the water. I mean, I had no idea the kind of person that he was. As far as music goes or anything, you know, you just and that kind of goes for anybody really. When Jet Fuel was playing, sorry, not Jet Fuel, when 2009 was playing and you were hearing that classical intro, you got a little taste of that throughout some of the other songs, and then you had, of course, the horns, the saxophone, these jazzy elements, all these other worldly elements when it comes to music. And man, that 2009 intro was like almost a minute long of just classical music, and it just shows how well versed he was in music. I mean, he literally basked in music, and it's just, you know, never judge a book by its cover, ever, ever, because you don't know their journey, you don't know what they've been through, you don't know their experiences, and in this case, there's so much to learn about Mac through just his taste in music. I mean, it's incredible. I would not have expected to have gotten that showing from this album. Like the if you had said, yeah, there's going to be like a minute classical intro in this album, I wouldn't even know what to say. Yeah, overall I I love this album. It just, again, it seemed appropriate to go from Thundercat into a Mac album, and these two just seem to go hand in hand. I don't think I could have been recommended a better pairing than these two albums. It is what it is, and Swimming. I think they were made for each other, literally. You could tell that they were best friends for sure. Um, yeah. So we have one track left. See what we're in for. Track number 13, So It Goes. All right. Again, very stripped down. Nothing too crazy on it. Sounds like a very simple mix. And it just shows how raw of a musician he is. I like that.
Faction, goddamn. They saying I've been gone too long. I could just tell them fuck you, but that come on.
I like that effect.
My God.
It's crazy how with these synths you have it sounds so epic but still so simple at the same time. Wow, man, that that just shows how powerful um music is, because throughout the beginning of that song I was like, okay, so we're gonna be fine. It's not gonna get emotional, but the way he ended the song, you realize, like, it's the album has concluded. But it really got me thinking, you know, again, I get really emotional with these offerings, because um they're no longer with us, right? And depending on the artist, I really make a lot of strong similarities here between Mac and Lane Staley of Alice in Chains. Uh, between the two albums, Dirt and I think it's Jar of Flies. Yeah, Jar of Flies. You can tell all through those two albums that Lane Staley was struggling hard, um, and it's almost like a cry for help across the whole thing. What's interesting with Mac's approach is it seems like he's just so at peace with where he's at. You know, like he's just it's just who he was, and he did make some references about drowning, about treading water, um, swimming. But then you hear him throughout it and just saying he's content. He's fine where he is, and he's gonna be all. We're gonna be all right. He never said I'm gonna be all right. He was always saying we're gonna be all right. Then I started thinking to myself, as I was kind of getting a little more emotional during that last track, I was thinking to myself, would this music have really impacted me as much if he was still here? Would it have impacted me as much if I had heard it at the time it got released? I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell you because the experiences would have been completely different. Where I am today is not where I was back in 2018 when this album came out. But what I will take away from this is to really really try and make those connections and try to see what the headspace is, you know, while you can. I really appreciate it for what it is. These songs have so much more weight because he has passed. But, you know, it shouldn't sway my opinion of the music one way or the other. It should live on its own, free of any outside forces like that. Um, but again, we are where we are, and I had already known that he had passed away. Overall, absolutely incredible album. I love every single track on this album. My favorites are probably 2009. If I had to choose five, I would probably go with 2009, Ladders, Small Worlds, So It Goes, and maybe Hurt Feelings. Again, this is just off of my first listen, so I'd have to give it a couple more listens. I'm sure that's going to change. But yeah, what an incredible soul, what an incredible person. Absolutely beautiful, man. Rest in peace, Mac. And I am very much looking forward to exploring more of his music. But yeah, thanks so much, guys, for hanging out, and I will catch y'all in the next one.